It's shoulder season for real estate agents. The Blackstone Group is leaving the single-family rental business. Ooh. And the Mortgage Bankers Association says it's not 2008 all over again. Which pretty much means it is. And then finally, a bonus, Scot gets to interview one of his idols. In fact, it might be his only idol besides himself. That and more today. Hi-ya! Welcome to the Real Estate World Podcast. I'm Scott Pequod, your host, and I'm telling you folks, I am fired up today. And I'm telling you, I have had one of the greatest weeks of my life, peppered in with some of the worst weeks of my life, and we won't talk about that right now. But this last week has been just monumental for me, and we'll get into more of that in a bit. But first, I just want to say thank you to my sidekick, minion, lackey, producer and co-host, Jeremy Pequod, who also happens to be my younger brother and the recipient of all my fat clothes.
Double clap to that.
Double clap! Boom! Oh my gosh! And then with that move, I just lost my microphone. No, I will never lose my microphone. In fact, if I lose my microphone, I just pick up a megaphone. Anyway, we are sitting here comfortably back in flyover country. We're in the bunker today, and the great thing about the bunker is that my office is at least, would you say, 10 degrees colder than any other room here?
Probably, but you do have pyrotechnics in here.
I do. I got, oh God, that's a great segue. I got, for Halloween, I ordered this flame machine. Unfortunately, it came from China, probably with tariffs on it. And in my wisdom, I waited till the last minute to order it. There was no expedited, dive bomb method to get it quicker. So I actually got two of them. There's one in my house and there's one in my office now. So we're going to have to come up with some kind of a fire and ice Christmas kind of theme just to freak out the neighbors.
It's going to be looking a lot like Christmas in Minnetonka, except by Scott's house.
Oh, yeah, because, that is an undisclosed location. So, anyway, I'm so fired up today that I have to start the show with something to calm me down because there's so much to talk about. And as you know, I've been going through some personal challenges with my health, although the fact that I ran 6 miles in the last 24 hours would imply that I'm not having any challenges, because I bet a lot of you listening haven't ran that far in the last 24 hours unless you were running from a bear. Or in Jeremy's case, a donut, running towards a donut.
I ran 6 miles in April, Scott.
Well, you prorate that over the last 6 months. It's a mile a month, and we don't want you to overdo it. So, anyway, so
give or take one.
Oh man, so I read from. There's a book out there. Ryan Holiday wrote a book called The Daily Stoic, and he also wrote The Obstacles Away, Ego's the Enemy. Ryan, kind of, if you know Ryan's story, he's an admitted jackass, kind of like me. He had moments of, not so proud moments in his life, and he found that, well, we won't call it he found virtue, but he found a way to seek virtue through an ancient philosophy called Stoicism. And if you don't know what Stoicism is, you got to turn the radio off or your podcast off right now, because you're not worthy of being even listening to the show. No, just kidding.
Please share this with all of your friends.
Yeah, exactly. No, and thank God for Ryan. I'm sorry. Oh, guys, this is why you lock the door when you're doing a podcast. Jeremy, do you know what my Apple ID is?
I'm guessing it's one of 3 things.
Yeah,
I could probably figure it out.
I'm not going to say that on the air, but I will write it down. Again, it's hard for me to do the podcast and quote the Daily Stoic when I'm constantly being interrupted by my wife getting a new cell phone today. Actually, she's transferring my old one to herself. She didn't want the iPhone 11. Anyway, I am writing down my Apple ID. Can you hear that paper? And hopefully they come back in here and get this. All right, so I'm going to start by reading a passage, now that we've got the Apple ID written down, a passage from the Daily Stoic. And this one is, it just hit me like in such a profound way, like a lot of the passages do. This is a quote from Seneca on Consolation to Helvia 5.3. Fortune falls heavily on those for whom she's unexpected. The one always on the lookout easily endures. And here's the interpretation by Mr. Holiday. There's a story of a Zen master who had a beautiful prize cup. The master would repeat to himself, "The glass is already broken." He enjoyed the cup. He used it. He showed it off to visitors. But in his mind, it was already broken. And so one day, when it actually did break, he simply said, "Of course." Now, you could say that's a pessimist, right? But I don't believe so. Moving on, or going on. This is how the Stoics think, too. There is supposedly a true story about Epictetus and a lamp. He never locked his house, and so his expensive lamp was stolen. When Epictetus replaced it, some people say Epictetus, but we're not going to worry about the different pronunciations. Anyway, when Epictetus replaced it, he replaced it with a cheaper one, so he could be less attached to it if it were stolen again. Devastation, that feeling that we're absolutely crushed and shocked by an event, is a factor of how unlikely we considered that event in the first place. No one is wrecked by the fact that it's snowing in the winter, because we've accepted and even anticipated this turn of events. What about the occurrences that surprise us? We might not be so shocked if we took time to consider their possibility. So, I can apply this. We all can apply this to ourselves, in a multitude of ways. For me, the realization I had a brain tumor in August, that kind of crushed me. I wasn't really prepared to face my own mortality. It crushed me for about a moment. And I'll tell you what happened next was I pivoted from being like, oh crap, what does this mean, to, you know what? I'm actually really lucky, because while I was, sitting in a hospital bed in Laguna Beach, receiving this news, I quickly came to the realization that I'm awake, alive, and sitting in a hospital bed versus being dead, waiting for my wife and kids to come identify my corpse and them not knowing what to do. I immediately pivoted to, I am so thankful, because so many people in life don't get a moment to fight. They don't get that chance to say goodbye. They don't get a chance to make plans. And I'm nowhere close to saying goodbye, but the reality is that this is something that I get to live with. It's not something I have to live with. It's something I get to live with, not something I'm forced to live with. I get to live, right? So for me, that glass is already broken. I now am been fighting this cancer, and I don't want to use the word fighting, because that gives you that can carry negative connotations too. I'm living with this, but what I'm doing is I'm treating this thing I have with a metabolic approach or integrative therapies, where I've changed my diet to more of a ketogenic diet, calorie restriction, and really taken a positive outlook on my prospects of survival. And I'll tell you that your attitude and how you feel and how you approach things, I believe, has a huge impact on your health and how you get through it. So does the foods you put in your body as well. And we don't, I'm not going to go off on this today, but maybe I will, but maybe that will be for a little bit. But the reality is that if you wanna follow this journey, go to YouTube, Tumor Tales. That's my channel, Tumor Tales, Scot Pequod. There's also a Facebook group if you want to join it. And I do, a few videos a week, talking about different things I'm doing to work through this brain tumor, grade 2 glioma. And really, I've yet to make myself the victim here, and I won't. I will not. I am so blessed to have the people, even you, Jeremy. I give you a lot of crap, and I promise you that I will continue to do so. And
I'll drink my chug of tea to that, Scott.
Which is a great segue.
All right, don't go down the beat. Don't go off of that path quite yet.
You
were about to give me some praise, or something or another.
Jeremy has been Well, he's a magician when it comes to dealing with me, because I can be, as some of you might know, a little volatile or passionate, as I like to describe it. And
Very, very passionate.
And Jeremy is good at helping me channel said passion into productive pursuits versus going into rabbit holes or ultra wormholes. Now that my kids have made me watch 500 hours of Pokemon, and pulled me back into what's important and where my focus needs to be. So, Jeremy, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a lot of great family and friend and employees. In fact, I will tell you, our business has never been stronger, and I've never been happier to come to work, because we have got we spent some time learning about what culture we wanted to create here over the last year, and I will tell you, I've never been so aligned and happy with the culture and the people I'm working with today, and the people that we are affiliated with, and there's some real power in having that clarity and having that, finally figuring out, the great team to surround yourself with, and knowing who you want to surround yourself with. And I guess that's a business tip for those of you that are, looking at building a team, whether it's, mortgage, title, real estate, carpentry, electricians who want to, start your own business. It doesn't matter what business. Think about who it is you want to surround yourself with. And if you make a mistake, course correct quickly, because surrounding yourself with negative people who are lethargic, people who tend to look at the glass not being broken. They look at the glass being broken and the shard stuck in their jugular, right? You don't want that. You cannot do that, because it sucks energy from you, and there are enough forces external that you have to deal with at times. Oh gosh, speaking of that, that's a segue.
I was just going to add, it's definitely a place where you get to go to work, and eventually you have to go home.
Right, exactly.
You have to go to work.
You have to go home. In fact, though, when you go home, you want to do more work.
True.
Because you're excited for the work. And we're going to continue to build on that culture here. And, there's one thing, if there's one philosophy we have, is that, it's progress, not perfection. This podcast, has been a progression where we've made mistakes over the years, and over the years. Yeah, I've been doing this for years. It sounds like it because I'm so good right now, but no, over the last, the first episodes, we've been pushing the envelope and trying to do different things. And through that process, we make mistakes, but you know what? Rarely will I in fact, I don't recall yet that I've deleted the mistakes. I want to talk about the mistakes. I want to embrace the mistakes and bait the trolls to come for us. Because when the trolls come for us, what are they doing?
Well, at least they're caring.
Well, yeah, exactly. They're paying attention, and also they're doing my bidding, because they're carrying the message to the world, and they think we're embarrassed about the message. No, we embrace the message just like we embrace disruption, just like we embrace chaos, because we're the team that brings order to chaos. So anyway, on that note, what was the rabbit hole I was? Oh, yes.
Chaga.
No, Chaga. Yeah, not yet. So I was audited by the IRS randomly in September, right after I find out I have a goddamn brain tumor. I get a letter from the IRS that they want to audit my 2017 return. And I had nothing to worry about, because I knew I was if anything, overly conservative that year, and everything in that return was spot on. But still, it sucks. I'm like, oh, great. I'm brain tumor and an audit. What next? Is my cat going to die? I don't have a cat. But but I got the letter this week, that they're recommending no changes. I'm like, oh, I lost money on one real estate deal in my life, and it was in 2017, and it was a big loss, and I'm not proud of it. But behind that loss, it was my hubris and my ego, which I let get the best of me. And I read a book, I reread it, called The Richest Man in Babylon, which I may have talked about before. George Clausen. In fact, it's one of the books I recommended to Don Miller in our meeting last week, which we're going to talk about here in a bit. In fact, we have a Don Miller interview at the end of this. At the end of this podcast.
It ain't so.
Oh my God, it's fantastic. Anyway, but George Clausen, Richest Man in Babylon, if you haven't read it, you gotta read it. And if I read that book every year, which I committed to doing now, it would have saved me a lot of the blunders that I made in the past 20 years. So, and I read that book for the first time when I was 22.
the positive of the IRS audit, Scott, is that's probably the most organized 3 hours of my life that I've ever been going through that file. So I just want to thank you for helping me build that skill. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Jeremy had to do all the work of going through all the receipts and invoices and stuff. And you did a great job. You did a fantastic job.
Not only were they all there, but some had duplicates.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It was awesome.
But we didn't expense them twice. That's the one thing we did.
Correct.
We were spot on, and thank you to Adam, our bookkeeper, and Erica and Rick, my accountant, everyone who's on the team to keep order to the chaos that I can create here. So anyway, chaga. Chaga. What is chaga? Well, chaga is a mushroom, fungus that grows on birch trees. And this week I did go chaga hunting. And the cool thing about chaga is, you guys check it out. CHAGA. I'm not going to go off on it too long. If you want to learn more about it, go to my YouTube channel. But if you want, talk about nutrient rich, antioxidant rich. It's got like 100,000 times more antioxidants than blueberries. And I'm not even exaggerating, which I'm not, this isn't hyperbole. There's a company called Birch Boys. They have a lot of chaga products. Check them out. Birch, BIRCH, Birch Boys. And, they have some good facts about chaga as well. But I did go to northern Minnesota with my friends Shanda and Eric Gebhardt, and, was able to, go hunting chaga earlier this week and did some cool videos on it. These guys are fantastic. Shanda actually bought some of Jeremy's chives, or not chives, scapes, garlic scapes, and made a butter out of it. It's fantastic. So good people. Had a wonderful venison and salmon, fresh caught salmon from Alaska that one of their friends had dropped off earlier in the week or in the weekend, which it's caught like 2 weeks ago or something. And then Eric, we had a venison that deer he had shot like just 3 days earlier. And I know, animal rights activists, troll me, I don't care. It was really good. It was the best I ever had. It was so good. Anyway, check out chaga for those of you. It's good for your health. I could go on, and I will at a later date, but chaga.
You might have been eating deer, but at least you weren't eating bird.
True.
Birds' rights activists.
Yeah, well, there's a story there, but we're not going to talk about it.
Might have to save that one for the next episode.
We're building a multi-unit property, and the bird trolls are after us. So we're talking about that on a different day. So, Don Miller, we were in Nashville from Thursday through Saturday. I will say Nashville did beat me this time. Last time I was in Nashville was in May, and I did, I laid a whooping on Nashville. Let's just say the counterpunch left me on my ass, literally. But
the score is 1-1 now.
1-1. We're tied.
So it's a tie game.
So there's a rubber match coming in the near future. But anyway, we had a phenomenal one-day business planning session with Donald Miller, with just Don, and our team. It happened to be all family. Adam and Allie, who have been on the podcast, Jeremy, Jesse, my brother, Jeremy, obviously my brother, and Ryan, who I don't know who's been on as a guest yet.
He does a lot of production, so thanks Ryan for all of your work on that, but I don't think he's been on a show yet.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And my wife Jess, who's just been like a rock star, with me in this business for almost 20 years. And it wasn't our intent necessarily to make it just family, but that's how it worked out. And it was really powerful. We brought back, I feel like Prometheus bringing back fire from Nashville from that one day with Don Miller. And Don was gracious enough to allow us to interview him, and that interview will be on this podcast. And it was really Don was one of those people 3 or 4 months ago that I said, gosh, if there's one person I want to interview this year, it's Don Miller. And to actually have done it and had that opportunity was really fulfilling and just powerful. Don is creating an online educational institution called Business Made Simple Daily. Jeremy's smiling like a Cheshire cat. What's
I'm
up?
just thinking of all the great jokes that Don was telling us.
Oh yeah,
during that day.
Yeah, we will not repeat those jokes.
That will never.
Those are Don's jokes to tell. So, and we're not stealing anything from the master himself. But Don has Business Made Simple University, which is phenomenal. Like I got a sneak peek. We're in fact bought it for our our entire organization, our employees, our agents, our maintenance people. And Don has I'll call it a moonshot. That's I think, Peter Diamandis, I think you might have coined that. And Peter Diamandis is someone I will interview. He runs the Abundance 360 conference in Beverly Hills in January. Check it out. But Don has a moonshot, and that is to go toe to toe with every university in the country and maybe outside of the United States, with his Business Made Simple University, and kind of it's a complete curriculum, and I can't do it justice. Listen to the interview with Don. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. He talks in detail about what Business Made Simple University is. BusinessMadeSimple.com is where you need to go to get more information if you want to go online. Anyway, Don has daily emails, which I've been getting from the beginning, with daily business tips. It's fantastic stuff. So I can go on and on and on, but we need to move on in the interest of time.
And I will, I'll do a 30-second segue. If you haven't signed up for Don's daily videos, I highly recommend checking those out. The cool thing about Don is meeting him in person and sitting across the table from him is exactly the same as watching his videos every morning. He's a very authentic person.
Oh, I think it's even better.
I can't even describe it. So I would highly recommend that, and definitely would recommend Business Made Simple University.
And then, we're going to do a little on-air teachable moment. Jeremy, with that camera there, I think if you move it, it'll... see, we use a Canon, I don't know what the model is, camera right now. Like, you got to actually move the focus or something. If you do something with that, it resets. The thing is, the Canon camera is set up to stop in 30 minutes. And I, of course, haven't read the manual. I could tell you how to not, or actually I've talked to people, but I should read the manual, figure out how to not do that. Make it not stop after 30 minutes. Anyway, this is what happens when you're committed to progress, not perfection.
It's already broken, Scott.
It's already broke?
Camera's already broken.
Oh, cool. Sounds like my home. Is Nico here? I have a 5-year-old son who, anytime I bring any recording equipment home, he will break it within 30 minutes. Anyway, so Don Miller interview, check it out. Shoulder season for real estate agents, and I will tell you, what does that mean? Well, in shoulder season in Europe or travel destinations, it's usually that transitional time between peak season, off peak. Well, we are coming to the end of shoulder season, and what does that mean? It means agents are looking to move. They're looking to change brokers. Many people like to blame their broker for their lack of productivity, but I can tell you a quick sidebar that it's generally not the broker. You can blame your broker for a commission split. You can blame your broker for too many fees. Hell, you can blame your broker for, passing out drunk at the holiday party. Whatever. That's not me, by the way. But I will say, agents out there listening, or anybody in any profession, generally speaking, I would say almost in all cases, the person you blame for your lack of productivity is you. And either you might be working hard, but you might be working on the wrong activities. Think of the fly trying to get through a screen door. Boy, does that fly work hard. Oh boy, that work! Oh my gosh, right up to the point where it dies, right? So think about start by taking that self-evaluation and think about the things that you're doing, either that you could do differently, that you're not doing, or you could do better, and start there. We are hiring a few agents in my brokerage right now, but frankly, we're not interested in taking on anybody. In fact, there's probably people here that won't be here in 6 months because we are actually pivoting from a culture that lets that stuff slide to a culture that we want people to be able to earn a living. And earning a living isn't doing 2 deals a year. All right. That's not a living. That's a hobby. And we want to make sure the people here aren't hobbyists. We want to make sure they're professionals. And that's part of the culture that we've decided to create now. And frankly, that's been the evolution that I've had as a broker in the last 12 months. What is the culture you want to have? Who do you want to be working around? I want to be around positive, productive people that lift me up, not just professionally, but personally. So anyway, shoulder season's going on. We're actually about to launch a recruiting campaign that is in an effort to bring on 5 productive, awesome people. All right. So, Blackstone Group leaving the single family rental business. Why is this important? Why do I care? Well, you know what this is? This Blackstone is Blackstone Group billions and billions and billions of dollars. A lot of ex-Goldman Sachs, current Goldman Sachs folks. They started a company called Invitation Homes back during the bust, back during the dark ages. And they had basically took a lot of private equity, bought a ton of real estate, and then they had a debt issue to buy a ton more, and then they were able to take the company public. I'm going to get into that some other day and explain more about that. I do understand it, but I don't want people to fall asleep. Why is this important? Well, if Blackstone Group, which has got some of the most intelligent people in the industry, like no joke, like I have great reverence for the intellect of these people. All right, now, if they're exiting the single-family rental business, to me, that is a canary in the coal mine that says we are at the peak. We're either coming off of it, we've either crested Everest, or, we've achieved the summit, and now we're coming down, or we're about to get there. Jeremy?
Well, we're just walking across the plateau right now and ready to plummet.
Right. I'm telling you, these people are not stupid. They are not stupid people. These are incredibly smart people. And I will tell you what this means is that this rental boom we've experienced for a decade is probably coming to its logical conclusion, which means that the price of homes, because they bought single family homes, so it means that also means that the price of single family homes has probably reached its apex, summit, apex.
And to give you an idea
peak.
of the scope, the size, at one time the company oversaw 50,000 housing units across the country, which is fairly sizable. That's probably the number one.
Oh yeah, number one homeowner in the country. In fact, Invitation Homes number of units. I'm just gonna ask our friend Google, Giggles, our share of the U.S. housing market. So Americans, blah blah blah. Let's see, 80. They're up to. According to Invitation Homes blog, they say as of August of this year, we own and care for more than 80,000 homes in 17 markets across the country. We're in the Minneapolis-St. Paul, Minnesota market. They are here. They say, well, 80,000 homes is certainly a big number. One might be surprised to learn that we are actually a small sliver of the single-family rental market, less than 0.5% of the nation's 16 million single-family rental homes. But that's still a lot.
Owned by one corporation. That's sizable.
Breaking down the numbers, housing market, invitation, small fraction. They're a big company trying to appear small in this blog, which is kind of ridiculous. But anyway, so. That is huge, and they do have a November move-in special, by the way, on select homes. Get $500 off with leases starting on it before 11:30. Anyway, that's the advertisement. Anyway, Blackstone getting out of this tells me the market's peaked. Apex, peak, summit, crest, whatever. There we are. So moving on, the Blackstone Group story is awesome because it tells us something. Now, the next item on the news, we'll call it, is the Mortgage Bankers Association says it's not 2008 all over again, which in my opinion means it is. All right. Now, 2008 was was awful, right? It was, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. And, that was a product of basically anybody and their dog, including their dog, were able to buy a house, and not a doghouse. Like if your dog could somehow, you could get him to somehow bark his name or show up to a closing. I would maintain you could have got him a house of his own. And we know what happened. So the Mortgage Bankers Association releases an index, several times a year, called the Mortgage Credit Availability Index. And what that does is it provides, according to Keeping Current Matters, article written by, I don't even know who, somebody with a pen or a keyboard. They don't really have an article here or author. The MCAI, which is the Mortgage Credit Availability Index, is a summary measure which indicates the availability of mortgage credit at a point of time. Basically, okay, it's how hard is it to get a mortgage? How easy is it to get? The higher the index, the more available the mortgage credit. So the index stood at 400 in 2004, 850 in 2006, when the market crashed in 2008, 9, 10, 11-ish, below 100, because mortgage money became almost impossible to secure. And okay, the lending standards have eased since. So currently the index is close to 200, depending on when it was taken. It's in the last couple of years. So, which
in 2007, 2008,
it was at 850
plus 850.
So, and then the article goes on to say in 2006 it was difficult not to get a mortgage, and I agree with that. I'm starting to see things that are a little more that are making this loosening of credit more obvious. What used to be called subprime is now called non-prime. All right, and we're seeing some very low doc mortgages coming out. Some real restriction or lenient credit scores.
Creative uses of euphemisms.
Exactly. A creative euphemism. Yeah, exactly. So I've got some doubts as to where we are in terms of credit right now. I feel like it's getting very lenient, and I don't know that this article completely captures what's going on. I don't believe we're in 2008 either, to be completely candid, although I'm being a little bit cynical here. I do not believe we're at 2008. And in fact, I would say that, we're probably more, 2004 than 2008. Now, it feels like we're kind of at a peak in values, but I think what's propping it up a little bit is the low interest rates that we've had for, a decade. We still, by most people's standards, we see a shortage of available housing units, but that's really on the low end of the market, right? The, options that are under 300,000, particularly, in our market here, things under 300,000, that's like, you can't get a townhouse anymore. And I would hardly say that we are, in the most affluent market in the country. So anyway, we will continue to monitor that situation. I'm sure the trolls are out there, and they'll say that, that we are, and we're not just in 2008, we're in 2009, and fire and brimstone is going to rain from the sky. But I mean, Jeremy, what do you think the trolls might do?
Well, in that situation, you should definitely sell your home with Verde Real Estate Group.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah, then if the fire and brimstone's coming, it's time to sell. And it's funny, this just kind of off on that tangent a little bit. We've been talking about why do people sell? And one of the agencies we work with, I won't name them, but they were doing some ads for us, and they're like, the market's peaked, time to sell. And it got me to thinking. I've never known anybody who, with their own home, used the market as peaked as a reason to sell. Like, there's all kinds of internal reasons to sell. Kids are gone. You're having kids. You're thinking school districts.
Yeah, I think maybe if you're investment property owners, we're seeing that where investment owners are retiring. They think the values have peaked or come to an acceptable level, and they want to liquidate and retire. But as homeowners ourselves, I've never said, "Oh, my property value is high, I want to sell it."
Yeah,
because you got to live somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
Unless you're going to move into a rental, which you could. I mean, that might be the only exception to that. But I'm sure there's others, but that's one I could think of.
Your mother's basement.
Right, mom's basement. But the and you're right, like investment property owners, and it's the ones who are getting out of the business, who finally said, you know what, I don't want to hire a manager. I've had enough tenants and toilets. And the market, and that's what I tell investment owners. I'm like, look, if you're thinking about getting out of the business for good, you should probably sell now. because I don't see the market getting any better for investment properties anytime soon. Can it in the future? Absolutely it can. But I think there's more risk of it having a little retraction, particularly if we finally get an abundance of rental units, multi-units that have been built for tenants. That boom started a decade ago too. Currently in our market, we're starting to see some pressure on the higher end rentals. So we'll keep you posted. There's one constant, and that is change. And we will keep our ears to the track. Our antennae are up, and we'll continue to monitor all of these stories because they're all very controversial, and our positions on them, I'm sure, are even more controversial. So,
and it's a good segue for the audience here too. What are some of the reasons that you've sold your home? Some of the brainstorm subjects that we came up with, whether it's a change in job, different geographical location, divorce, familiar structure,
death,
getting married, death,
getting married, kids, schools, there's a whole plethora of reasons, I'm sure, many of which we haven't addressed. So we'd love to hear from you. If you want to be on the show, you're a real estate industry professional and you have something to offer, a controversial opinion. Heck, it might even be a mainstream status quo type opinion, and you want to come and debate Scott, who believes that disruption is all around us and we should embrace it. We'd love to have you. We can do a lot with technology now. In fact, we're really good at it. Today, we decided not to go live on Facebook for no apparent reason. In fact, I'm actually kind of mad we didn't go live on Facebook. But we will get this, the audio file up and the video at some point here, so you can, bait the trolls with it, Jeremy.
We're gonna try.
Yeah. Well, okay. So today we're not going to do real estate wars. And we're not going to do Disruptor of the Week. I believe, actually we are doing Disruptor of the Week. I believe Disruptor of the Week is Donald Miller. And Business Made Simple University.
Disruptor of the industry.
Yeah, I think all industries, like the educational, the content, how education is delivered. I mean, this stuff is the real deal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Scott Pequod with the Real Estate World Podcast. We are here. We've made it, Jeremy.
We are in Nashville, Tennessee.
In the presence of greatness, one of my idols, and I say that with great reverence. Don Miller is here with us today. As you know, I've had a bit of a man crush on Don for about the last year. When I picked up this book, Story Brand, that was sitting on my desk for a year collecting dust, and it was one of the defining moments of my life. And I say that very seriously. This book absolutely has changed how I look at business marketing. It's actually in many ways changed my life in terms of how I approach even issues in my personal life. So with that, Don, you have many accolades, many titles, I'm sure. But can you tell us a little bit about what motivated you to write this book?
Yeah. Well, what motivated me to write the book was actually the writing of novels. It was understanding how story works in order to be a memoirist back in the day. I never really wrote novels, but a memoirist. And understanding story helped me figure out how to keep somebody turning the page. And then when I'd written 7 memoirs, and I did not want to write an 8th, because I think if you write an 8th memoir, you're just a clinical narcissist. And I just want to be a regular narcissist, not a clinical one. So I sort of used all that story knowledge to create a marketing framework for my own conference company, and very quickly realized the marketing framework was worth more than anything I'd ever come up with. And so it was a good financial move for me to teach it to other businesses. And then I just found fulfillment in it. I found fulfillment helping other businesses get heard and seen and understood in the marketplace. We've all got these great products, and we're all trying to sell houses or whatever, but we just don't know how to talk about it in such a way to differentiate ourselves from the competition. So these ancient elements of story each have a paradigm shift within them that creates a business secret, if you will, that I think has been incredibly effective. So we've helped going on 10,000 businesses clarify their marketing messages. And those businesses have gone on to much greater success because of that. Certainly all the ones that we hear about. And it's just become a pretty fulfilling career.
Awesome. So you've recently launched a new online university.
Yeah. What we did was we took the marketing framework and discovered pretty quickly this framework is better than what they're teaching at most universities. I mean, there was a guy from Georgetown told me that, a professor there. Vanderbilt University brought on the marketing framework in their executive MBA program. And then I created one for mission statement and guiding principles and realized pretty quickly that's better than most of the stuff that's out there. And so now we're creating basically a whole kind of MBA program that would cover finance, reading financial statements, strategy, mission statement, guiding principles, messaging, marketing, productivity, execution, sales. All the real tangible stuff you need to know to run a business, but without all the fluff, without the boring white papers and all the kind of, just tell me what to do and why I should do it this way. And we're creating that, and we want to take that full curriculum, which take about a year to get through it all. And we want to disrupt the university system. So we actually are offering it online at $275. And our goal is to have it taught in most universities in the country. If you want to go get a degree, go pay them $50,000. If you want to do it online yourself, do it for $275. If you want to go through a mastermind with it, we'll certify some coaches to take you through that, and that would be a fee that you pay them. And that's the plan. And it would allow folks who are 25 to 45, 50, and they're realizing, I could probably up the value that I offer to a corporation if I went back to school, but they can't go back to school because they don't have enough time or it's too expensive or whatever. We're going to create an efficient way to do that.
How does somebody who is interested in learning more, where would they go? Is there a website?
The best thing is businessmadesimple.com. That's where the university actually is. We're offering 4 courses right now, and again, it's $275. I mean, it's dirt cheap.
A bargain. I mean, it's quality stuff. I mean, I've been out there. I'm obviously signed up. In full disclosure, we're in Nashville today. I don't usually like to tell my audience where I am because the trolls are looking for me out there. And
well, by the time this comes out, hopefully you'll be out of town.
Well, I'll be in flyover country again in the bunker, safely tucked away. But I will tell you, we're in Nashville. We just wrapped up a one-day workshop with Don, and Don, being the loving husband, has to go meet his wife.
Yeah, I've got a date with my wife for happy hour at Josephine. And I can say that because by the time you hear this, we will not be
They won't be there anymore. So that mob that's coming for your autograph won't be able to find you there, which is fantastic. Jesse, get this up, or Jeremy, get this uploaded right away.
Yeah.
So Don, I like how you said that this is not on. So Don, I like how you said that you're planning on disrupting the university because we're actually fueled by
disrupting and
here.
hating it. I mean, they're trying to figure this stuff out too. There's tangible value that is created in the marketplace when you understand how to do certain skills, how to run a meeting, how to give a speech, how to align a team. And a lot of that stuff is not taught in your universities. It's way too high level. And so a lot of companies are actually looking for somebody coming into their outfit that can actually add tangible value on day one. And that's what we want to teach. Here's the stuff that actually makes money, right?
And this is more of almost like an executive level MBA, or
it's an executive level MBA. But I just talked to a gentleman yesterday at an organization called City of Refuge in downtown Atlanta. It's in the worst neighborhood in Atlanta, and he basically takes women who are caught up in prostitution and he rescues them. And they go through sometimes some drug rehab. They're very well protected. They're still in the neighborhood around barbed wire fences, and they're protected. And then he has vocational schools, and we're offering him passes to our system for free. And the idea is some of these
that's awesome.
Yeah, some of these young men and women, they can go through a 1-year program and learn more than most executives know how to do. But not only that, they could go to any small business in America, walk through the door, and make that business money. And a lot of universities can't do that. And so we see it as a way of creating an equality. And what I love is that I think they're going to be Harvard graduated professionals who say, I really got even more education from this. And then there's going to be people who never had the money to go to school, grew up in a dysfunctional environment, and maybe some terrible things happen to them. And you're going to create an equal playing field between both of them. And the university system does not do that right now. I think it's hurting, and it's trying to figure it out, because none of these universities are doing this intentionally. They want to change the world, and we will never replace nursing schools, law schools. So much of the research that is done by our university system built this country. But we've got
trade schools, especially,
and trade
never
schools
replace
too.
those.
I would think of Business Made Simple University as a trade school for knowledge work. It's one of the best ways to think of it.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing stuff, and I've been getting your Business Made Simple daily.
Yeah, we send
emails.
out a daily free video that you can sign up for at businessmadesimple.com.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff, and like I said, today we had a one-day workshop, and I'm here with. I've had the pleasure of being here with my brother Jesse, my brother Jeremy, my brother Ryan, my brother-in-law Adam, my sister-in-law Allie, and my wife Jess. And I don't know. Are you going to do these workshops anymore? Are you?
Well, it's really not a workshop. We call it a marketing strategy session. I do about 4 a year.
Okay,
and you guys sounded interesting.
Yeah.
We get about 20 requests, and we end up doing about 4 or 5 of them.
Ooh.
And so
we made the cut.
Yes.
No, well, I mean,
elitist
part of it's schedule, right? But I actually love doing them, because all we're doing is sitting around all day trying to figure out a puzzle. It's just a puzzle. If you look at business like a puzzle, it becomes fun.
Oh, it was phenomenal. The amount of value that we got out of this is almost incalculable. But I want to hand the mic to my brother Jesse, because I think he has a question for Don before we get out of here. He's shaking his head, but I know he does. Come on, Jesse. Think of your question.
Oh my goodness!
Tell us a joke, Don.
No jokes. Not on recording.
No. I guess if I were to gun to my head, think of a question for Don, I would say, what do you think the number one value someone would get? One thing they would get out of taking your courses? Your
confidence. I mean, the ability to walk in the room and say, within a short period of time, I know what's wrong with this business and I know how to fix it. You guys know this is not complicated. You can teach this stuff on a napkin. But it's kind of like being able to tie a slightly complicated knot. I mean, how long would it take me to teach you to tie, some Boy Scout knot number 3? Not very long. But nobody here knows how to do it. So learning how to create guiding principles is like learning how to tie a knot. It's going to take you about 15 minutes to figure it out, and then But the difference between learning how to tie Boy Scout knot number 3 and learning how to create guiding principles is Boy Scout knot number 3 you probably will never need. And then guiding principles, if you understand how to do it, you're going to use it everywhere you go, and it's going to make somebody millions of dollars, and you're going to get a cut of that. But it's not hard to learn. This is not eye surgery, right? And so we just want to make it really easy to learn this stuff.
I just wanted to say really quick here, but what I felt I've received out of this whole session, 4 things were: you simplify, you say to execute, you assist, and you inspire. And that's what I felt after today is what you've taught me personally is simplify the process and go out there and do it.
Yeah, well, in terms of inspiration, it goes both ways. You guys inspire me.
I will. I'll say one thing too, and the one thing that I'm taking away is it's not the plays that win games or score points in business. It's the touchdowns. It's the
execution. It's not intention. It's execution.
That's right.
Yeah, you can draw up plays all day, but unless the ball gets in the end zone, plays don't win points. You got to get the ball in the end zone. You have to execute the play.
Well, and this has all been just unbelievable. I feel like I need to go take 3 hours down on Broadway to
that's the great place to process ideas.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic.
But I think my number one takeaway is, Don,
you will have forgotten everything that happened, not just today, but in the last 3 weeks.
Don, I have to ask you. Then we're gonna let you go meet your wife, because you've given us so much today. I need a couple days to process this. This has been just amazing. It's like one of the highlights of my life, and I mean that seriously. But I will tell you, the highlight of my life was that you downloaded or ordered how many books I recommended?
4.
4 books. Is that a record?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we did set a record here.
The old record was probably 1.
So we didn't just beat it; we destroyed it.
Every time you talked about it, I thought I have to read that. You should be a book salesman.
Well, I kind of have been. I think I've sold about 200 of your books for you. I might have bought.
I'm grateful.
Yeah. So
out of
anyway,
the 200, you've bought 100.
Well, yeah, I've purchased 100 given away. But anyway, thank you, Don, so much. This really has been awesome, and we wish you nothing but the best, and hope that any way we can promote your success and help you, we will do that.
Best too.
And again, we are with Donald Miller, building a story brand, Business Made Simple and
Business Made Simple
University. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, and you guys, I've taken a few classes already. It'll be mandatory training for my, paid training, of course, for my team, my real estate team, because my business is I train exceptional real estate agents, right?
That's what you do.
As part of also being an awesome podcast host, great husband, and great sibling.
I was going to say, great brother. Don't
great
leave
brother
that out.
And great father. All these other titles I go by Overlord of Trolls. Anyway, Don Miller, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to get on our way. Bye-bye. In fact, if Don Miller's company goes public, I'm going to invest in it. And I'm not joking. It's just, he has something on there called the Enneagram test. If you haven't taken it, it's amazing. And the Enneagram, talks about different types of people and their behaviors. And it nailed me like 100%.
But we want to hear what you think Scott is on that test. We're not going to tell you.
I won't tell you.
It's a big mystery.
Yeah. Gosh, what's the site? The free one?
I don't know.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Ask your friend. Google.
Yeah. Google it. Free Enneagram, Enneagram, I believe is how you spell it. Take the test. Try to figure out what I am. Figure out what you are. The beauty of it doesn't just tell you what you are, but it tells you how to deal with different types out there. And it's 1 through 9. 9 types?
1 through 9, yep.
9 types. And, I don't profess.
You can guess what I am, too. I'm one of, I came up with like 5 different ones.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a sociopath.
Yeah, that's obvious. But anyway, and then you can figure out if you have trolls in your life, what they are. Because, we haven't quite mapped the troll genome, and maybe the Enneagram can help us. So if you know a troll, and you look at the 1 through 9, we'll do the same exercise. And we will, in fact, there's that troll that keeps trolling us that's supposed to be on the show. Maybe we'll get him on next week. The Enneagram troll genome project has yet to be launched, but maybe we'll launch that at upcoming episode. We've still got some good stuff next week, I promise. So anyway, the Disruptor is Business Made Simple Daily. Don is going to talk about that a lot more. Not doing Real Estate Wars this week. I have a lot of candidates for that, but I decided not to be negative this week, and that kind of brings a negative tone to the show. But maybe I'll do 2 next week, because I'm starting to think that maybe negativity is the way we should be going. Jeremy, do you think?
I'm down for that.
All right, good.
Let's throw some punches.
We'll either that, or we'll just bring Jesse back on the show, because we know how negative that guy is. That guy needs help.
Was it Open Door?
Yeah. OfferPad. OfferPad. I'm going to see Jesse in Phoenix.
It's the OfferPad advocate.
Yeah, I'm going there for Thanksgiving with the family. We can't even say open the door, because he drops the and here's open door. All I hear
he throws down.
Yeah, I know. He just starts foaming at the mouth, and he has to be restrained. It's gets kind of ugly. Not that I know what that's like, but anyway, that is the show for today. I don't know that we can do any better. Do you think? No,
not till next week.
Yeah, so Don Miller coming up next.
I think next week we might have to do something live. You'll be in Phoenix. I'll be in the real flyover country, Thief River Falls, Minnesota.
Ooh, yikes. Make sure you have an internet connection this time. Yeah, that was a disaster last time. Do they have internet up there?
They do have dial-up.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. By dial-up, he means you have to attach a message to a bird, and then have it home into wherever the message is supposed to go.
Tie that to your phone, and then somehow it connects to the book face.
Yeah. So we will do this only if Jeremy can actually find a place that has internet over 28 baud per second.
Yeah, there's no internet, but there sure is a lot of bush light. Bush latte.
So if we do this, we have to do it before 10 a.m., apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so we might do a special Thanksgiving edition, and we may indeed do it on Thanksgiving, or we might do it Wednesday. In fact, Wednesday of next week, which would be November something, the 27th, we will do a live show. Are you going to be in Thief River at that point?
Wednesday night? No, I'll be in Becker.
All right, well, maybe we'll do it Friday.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. This has been, I think, our best show yet.
They always get better.
They do, and
for some reasons, Ryan Holiday is wrong. The shows are never broken. They actually are continuously improving.
They are. He's right. The show's never broken. And then, again, I want to thank Don Miller for that wonderful interview. Jeremy, thank you. Jesse, thank you for always willing to be the butt of the joke here on the Real Estate World Podcast. I am Scott Pequod. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, make every second count. You don't know how many you have left. We're out of here.